Meal prep is all the rage, and it feels like everybody's eating the same thing. Grilled chicken, green beans, and quinoa in all of those containers, and I don't want to eat the same thing night after night. So today on Feast and Farm Cooks, I'm going to show you how to prep your own shredded chicken in a flash, make as much as you want or as little as you need, how to freeze it, and then we're going to talk about 4 of my favorite recipes that feature shredded chicken and how to transform those into meal prep kits that you can put into your fridge and have any night of the week, already pre-chopped, pre-measured, and ready to go. You'll have dinner on the table in a flash, and I'll show you how to do it coming up today. See you there. Let's make our base recipe for our shredded chicken first. I'm using boneless, skinless chicken here. Check yours to see how much retained water is inside it. It will be on the front of the package, and try to get one with the smallest amount possible. I am going to lay this out on a rimmed baking sheet. If you don't have one big enough to do a big batch of chicken, you can put yours on 2 separate smaller ones if necessary. I always prefer using bone-in skin-on chicken if I can, but if you can't, this is fine as well. We're going to use a little bit of breast meat and a little bit of thigh meat here. Katie's Best is my favorite brand of chicken. Go ahead and lay all that on your baking sheet. Give a little bit of space between them if you possibly can. Get everybody arranged and we'll get them seasoned up. I'm using avocado oil here because it has a higher smoke point. We don't use vegetable oil in our house anymore, so avocado is our favorite for when it comes to high heat cooking. And then sprinkle over some salt. Don't be shy with that. I'm using Celtic sea salt here because I prefer the minerals and the extra flavor you get from that. A little bit of pepper, and then into the oven at 400 for 20 or 25 minutes until it's just cooked through. Don't overcook it or it really will be very, very dry. Add your chicken to the bowl of a stand mixer if you're using that. If you're not, you can shred it by hand with 2 forks, or even a powerful hand mixer will do the job. But we're going to use our stand mixer, turn it on medium, and let that go until the chicken is processed down to whatever amount you like. I tend to like mine very finely ground, so mine is really shredded. I put it back on that baking tray just to kind of let it cool down a little bit, and then we're going to start making our recipes. So let's start out by prepping our first recipe, which is going to be a chicken Cobb salad. We absolutely love this one. It's really simple and fast. We'll start out by boiling some eggs and cooking some bacon. Now, once you've got that done, you can go ahead and set those aside and we'll start assembling our dinner kit. I'll give you all the instructions inside the PDF that you'll be able to download after this video, so you don't worry about trying to measure or anything. But fill your container with whatever kind of greens you like. In this case, I'm using a blend of lettuces, arugula, and that sort of thing. Then add your eggs. Don't chop them yet, just leave them there whole, and then add your chunks of bacon. Now your bacon won't stay crispy when it sits in the fridge, but that's okay. It'll be fair enough. So close those containers up and then add whatever chicken you're going to want to use in your salad into a separate container. Remember, we're making a meal kit here. So this will be something you can keep in the fridge and just pull out the components and assemble it when you're ready for dinner, which I think is genius. So we'll get your chicken together. And next is tomatoes. Now tomatoes do not belong in the fridge, guys, unless you just really want to ruin their flavor. So I would recommend that you leave these in their container out on the countertop if you possibly can. And the same for the avocado. We're not going to put him in the fridge either. Let's leave him out. So we'll just chop him and slice him up for the salad when we're ready. Now for our dressing, we're using a couple tablespoons of white wine vinegar, a little salt, some pepper, and some olive oil. I'm using a good quality olive oil. California Olive Kitchen is my favorite pure olive oil. So we put that together and we put a little lid on that, and you can shake it up a little bit just to help it blend. Don't worry if it separates in the fridge. And all of that is dinner number 1 ready to go. Our next meal is going to be green chili chicken enchiladas. We love these things. You will too. You're going to start with a boatload of cheese. At least 2 cups. The recipe calls for 2 cups. Sometimes I do a whole lot more than that. But start by going ahead and pre-shredding your own. Then into a bowl, you're going to add some sour cream and a healthy heaping of jalapenos. You can also use green chilies here. And then a couple of cans of green chili enchilada sauce. And this is going to be our master sauce. So it's going to go inside the enchiladas and on the outside. A little bit of salt, because anytime you cook with dairy, it always needs a little extra boost of flavor. So blend those together, and once you've got it mixed up, set it to the side, and let's make our filling. So we're going to take chicken. I've got that nice pile of shredded chicken there on the side, so I've left it out. Now about half or so, give or take, a little less than half. Make sure you make a mess with your bowl. Add that sauce in, and then about half of the cheese, roughly. This doesn't have to be rocket science, so don't worry. Stir that together. And once you've got it evenly mixed, we'll go ahead and fill our tortillas up. So add, 2 or 3 tablespoons of filling to the inside of a 10-inch tortillas into a 9x13 baking dish, tucking them in all the way down the length of the dish. Now, I'm not going to show you the finalized version of this because we ate them after we baked them. My video assistant and I were so hungry that we ate them, and so you don't get to see. But go ahead and pour that sauce over, add your cheese, get that all piled up on top, and set that to the side because those are ready for the oven whenever you're ready to cook them. Now we're going to make the fresh topping, and to me this is the best. So we're going to slice up 5 green onions, and then, I don't know, a 1/4 cup or so of fresh cilantro. If you're not a cilantro lover, you can leave it out. You can use some fresh parsley in there if you want to. And then a few cherry tomatoes, and just kind of cut those into quarters, give or take, and pile those up into your container with your green onions and your cilantro. This is a topping that you'll put on after the enchiladas bake and not before, but it really adds a nice freshness to the dish. So go ahead and cover that, and then your enchiladas are ready for the fridge. And I also love this baking dish. It's from QVC, and it's one of my favorites for baking things directly from the refrigerator. Now we're going to do chicken tortilla soup. This one is probably the simplest of all of them. We're going to start out by dicing a medium onion into about 1/4 inch pieces, give or take. And if you don't want to use a plastic container for this, I realize that they hold odors. You can certainly use glass, or if you don't mind to use all the plastic, you can stick it in a Ziploc bag. Then you've got a couple of cloves of chopped garlic and a jalapeno that I have taken the ribs and seeds out of, but you are welcome to leave those in if you like the extra heat. Then we're going to add, 1/2 tablespoon of chili powder and put the lid on that. That sets to the side. Then into this great big container of chicken broth, we're gonna add a couple of heaping squeezes of tomato paste. No need to mix it up, just leave it in there, put the lid on, and that'll go into the fridge next to your other ingredients. Add the chicken off of our pan to the side and box it up so that it's ready to go in your soup when you're ready to cook it. Then we're gonna juice a couple of limes. The fresh lime juice is a really nice addition to this soup. Now, chicken with rosemary cream sauce. This one is awesome. Start out with a 1/2 stick of butter and 2 cups of mushrooms that you add to a container and set aside. Pile your chicken in a separate container that you'll want to use in this recipe. You can use as much or as little as you prefer. Then we've got a couple of cloves of garlic and some fresh rosemary. I think the flavor of rosemary is very, very strong, so just stick to the teaspoon that's in the recipe unless you just really love the flavor. Now into a jar, we're gonna have a 1/4 cup of chicken broth, a 1/4 cup of white wine, and then we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. If you don't like to use wine, you can add a little more chicken broth and a couple of tablespoons of lemon juice, and that's just fine, but you do need the acid. Put the lid on that and set it aside, and we're gonna grate some cheese. I'm using real Parmesan here, or Asiago also works, but you want about a 1/2 cup of that, and you're gonna throw it in the container with your chicken, along with some salt and pepper. And that is all you're gonna need to put together this dinner when you're ready. Now, let me show you how to put them together on a weeknight when you're ready to cook. So let's start with our salad. Could not be simpler, guys. Of course, just have your big bowl of greens, and it's pretty much chop and drop. Add your bacon to your big bowl of greens, as big of a piece as you like. Make sure you sneak yourself a bite because that's what we do around here too. And then chop up your eggs. I estimate 1 egg per person for this recipe. If you all want a little less, you can do that. If you want a little more, you can do that. And certainly hard-boiled eggs are great to have on hand for other recipes. So if you're making a few, you can always make extras for snacking on during the week. Go ahead and dice up your tomatoes, add those to the bowl. And then add your chicken. We're gonna go ahead and slice up a 1/2 of an avocado. You can certainly do more. If you all are like us, we really love avocado, so feel free to add as much as you want. These recipes are so flexible, so don't be feeling like you gotta stick to the recipe exactly. Give your dressing a little bit of a shake, and then pour that over as well and give it a good toss. This salad would be fabulous for lunches. If you wanted to go ahead and put everything together in one bowl, just hold off on putting the dressing on it until you're ready to eat to keep it from wilting. But it would be absolutely fabulous in school lunches or in your work lunches or just as a fast dinner. All right, let's make some soup. In a heavy pot over medium heat, add your onions, garlic, and chili powder that you mixed together in the first container and stir that until everything softens over medium heat. It'll take 5 or 6 minutes or so. Add your blend of chicken broth and tomato paste and give that a good stir. Everything's gonna need to simmer together for a few minutes. Bring it to a boil, and once everything is warmed up and boiling, go ahead and add your chicken in. This is so fast. Add as much chicken as you like and then add your lime juice. Give everything another simmer, 5 or so minutes to let the flavors meld together, and it's time to serve. So add some tortilla chips to the bottom of a nice soup bowl. Layer over your soup some cilantro, avocado, and diced tomatoes, and as the chips start to soften in there, it's really delicious. So this is one of the fastest dinners you're gonna get. And then finally, let's do this chicken and rosemary cream sauce. Add the butter and the mushrooms in one fell swoop into your skillet and bring it over medium heat. Let the butter melt and the mushrooms saute until they brown and release their water a little bit. That'll take 5 or 6 minutes or so. Then add the flour, the rosemary, the garlic, whatever else we have in that container, and stir it up until there's no pockets of dry flour remaining. That way you're cooking out that raw flour flavor. You can also use a gluten-free flour here if you choose. Pour in that blend of cream and white wine and chicken stock and all those delicious flavors and give that a stir. We want to let that come to a low simmer so it will begin to thicken. Once it's thickened up just slightly, takes 2 or 3 minutes or so, go ahead and add your chicken in. And then serve it over rice. You can serve it, this is over cauliflower rice, but you can serve it over pasta. Egg noodles is one of our favorites as well. To get all the recipes we featured today, click the link in the description box below and that'll take you over to my site where you can pick those up. And don't forget to check out more of my dinner recipes here on Feast and Farm Cooks. See you again soon, guys. Bye.